Onthatile means He loved me, and we want people to know that God loves them. We want our children to grow up knowing that God loves them and wants them to turn to Him. We started Onthatile in 2010. Basically, we started raising funds for that, and the Lord was moving in our hearts to be able to come over here and be able to start this ministry. Then in 2012, we finally made it to South Africa. And then in 2014, I believe it was, we purchased a property of about 5¼ acres. And now we're in the process of rezoning so that we can expand, and hoping to have somewhere between 25 and 35 children here ultimately.
The Kirbys joined us and our church 5 years ago, and Onthatile Ministry has been a huge blessing.
Growing up in apartheid South Africa, it's something we never had exposure to, different cultures. It was just Indians that lived amongst Indians. And now we've come out here, and I don't think I would have had that exposure.
When you see Joel and Rachel and the children living for God's kingdom, you cannot but look at that example and be stirred up to imitate that and to follow the example as they follow Christ.
Giving children who are homeless and who are vulnerable safety and a home in a loving family.
This ministry is important because we need, first of all, to share Christ with these children. And so many aren't hearing about Christ.
Hi, my name is Layla.
Halalelo, or Lelo as we call her, came to Onthatile almost 5 years ago now. She was just left in a field, was less than a day old, still had the umbilical cord attached, had the fluids all over her, and some people were walking through the field and happened to see or hear her in the field and brought her to the police, where then they brought her to the hospital. And that's where we first met her, was in Laratong Hospital. She was about 2 weeks old, and she needed a place to be able to stay. And so they let us take her home, and now she's 5 years old and has been with us that whole time. And just to see the change from when she first came and was this scrawny, had the side of her head shaved so that they could find a place to put an IV in, because there was nowhere else on her body that they could find to put an IV, to where she is today, just a beautiful, tall 5-year-old little girl who's doing excellent in school and loves to play and run around, and is very outgoing with people. The funding that you send supports us and has helped with 23 children being placed in good Christian homes, adopted, and then other children that have been fostered here through the ministry.
So Joel and I have been able to be involved in some other ministries outside of Onthatile, just for the purpose of being an encouragement to believers. We
work in our local church. I do music. We're counseling some young unmarried couples who are looking to do things the biblical way.
It's been challenging to have somebody older just point out some of the blind spots in your life, that, hey, have you considered this? What about this? What about that? What do you think about future plans and that sort of thing, marriage and all those things? So it's really brought a different perspective, because my parents are not saved, so some of these questions never came up.
There's a lot for teams to be able to do here, whether it's physical work. We had a team come and they helped cut back some trees for security purposes here. We had a team come and do help with the Holiday Bible Club. We've had teams that have come and gone into informal settlements and townships to spread the gospel there, or just coming to have a trip to see what missions looks like. We started out thinking we would have some interns come. Now we've really made it a little bit more formal, an internship program.
I thought I knew how to work hard until I came here, and then I realized that I didn't. So it's a lot of hard work, but it's so worth it in the end to see, to get to work with the kids and to see how much I've grown through it, and seeing the needs here. It really changes your perspective to come to a place like this and see the needs and see the sacrifice even that the Kirbys have made. Having known them before they're coming here, being able to see the sacrifice that they made to come here is really cool.
We want to also pour into the lives of our interns. And so what we've done is we've come up with a program where they do some reading and a few book reports while they're here of books that we believe will be impactful for them. Ongoing prayer requests right now would be the rezoning of the property, and then fundraising for the actual buildings to be able to build those. We need to bring in more funds for that. The salvation of each of these children that come through here, we need parents to step forward to be able to adopt. Primarily we help parents adopt in South Africa, but there are opportunities for parents in other countries as well, and so just pray for good godly families to step forward for that. We believe people should invest in Onthatile because it's a physical way to be involved in helping abandoned and orphaned children, and the Bible tells us that we should be doing that. All through the Bible it talks about the fatherless and the orphan in the Old Testament, and in the New Testament we have the picture of God and the adoption that He does for us as Christians. For our Christmas fundraiser this year, we're continuing to try to raise funds for the homes that we plan to build on the property, where husband and wife Christian couples will come in and foster children from a young age with the intent that they'll come to know Christ and spread the gospel throughout South Africa and whatever they happen to do as they grow up, whether it be business or missions or preaching or teaching, any of those things. And so we're trying to raise those funds. We are in the middle of rezoning. It's taken a little bit longer than we had thought it would, and it's been a bit more costly. And so we're applying new funds that come in to build those homes as quickly as possible.
Hello, Becca's at the airport, and we're so sad Becca's at the airport. Maybe she will come back. And thank you for that, and bye-bye.